Welcome to today's e-learning video. What I want to share with you today is actually not anything new. It's the same thing that you were doing on your last assignment. The only difference really is that we've just kind of removed some of the reminders that you have to use to get to your final answer. And so you're still going to be writing an equation given 2 points like we were doing the other day. It's just that I haven't reminded you of each step along the way. But those steps still exist. The first thing you're going to want to do is find the slope. Remember, slope is rise over run, and to find the rise, you subtract the y's, and to find the run, you subtract the x's. Once you have that slope, then you take one of the points and you take the slope and you put it in point slope form, and then you rearrange it into slope intercept form to get your final answer. So we're going to work through a couple of examples like this. Today's assignment is actually on Canvas today, so you're not going to My Open Math, you're just doing a Canvas assignment. So it may look a little bit different, but this is actually the first question on the assignment, so you may want to kind of keep track of what this answer is as we work through it so that you can have the first one done already. And so here's what these problems are going to look like. It says, which of these is the equation of the line that connects together the points 1, 5, and 2, 7? And so again, the first thing you want to do is you want to find the slope. So to find the slope, you do rise over run. To find the rise, you subtract the y's. So if we were to subtract the y values, which one of these combinations would you use? Okay, the y values are 5 and 7, so you would start by taking 5 minus 7. So those are our y's. Okay, now we also want to subtract the x's. So when you subtract the x's, since we did 5 minus 7, we also want to do 1 minus 2. We want to go in the same order. And so as you subtract the x's, your problem would be this. Okay, now we're going to simplify that. So when you do these two problems, what do you get for the top and what do you get for the bottom? Okay, so 5 minus 7 is negative 2, and 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So we get negative 2 over negative 1. Now, if we can simplify that, we want to. So negative 2 over negative 1, or negative 2 divided by negative 1, would simplify to what? Okay, that would simplify to 2. Okay, so that's our first step, is to find the slope. And again, that's not anything new. We've done that a long time ago. Back when we were still in school, we were talking about how to do that. So that's not anything new. Okay, the new thing that we've really worked on here in the last couple of weeks is this thing about putting equations into point slope form. And so point slope form is what you're looking at right here. So we want to rearrange this, or we want to put the information into point slope form. So remember, you can take either one of these points, but if we take the first point up there, if we take the point 1, 5, we're going to plug the 1 in next to the x, the 5 in next to the y, and then the 2 that we just found, that's what goes in front of the parentheses. And so remember, it's the opposite of the numbers. So since it's 1 and 5, we put negative 1 next to the x and negative 5 next to the y. And then the slope that we got goes in front. Okay, so let's rearrange this equation now, because this does not look like any of our answers. So we want to rearrange this and put it into slope-intercept form. So remember, your first step is to use the distributive property. So we're going to take 2 times x and 2 times negative 1. So don't do anything with the y minus 5. Just leave it as y minus 5 to start with. When you simplify this side, what would you have? Okay, so you would take 2 times x. That would be 2x. And then 2 times negative 1 would be negative 2. So there's our first step, is we multiply with the distributive property to get rid of the parentheses. And then remember, we want to get this so that y is by itself. So we need to move this minus 5. And so as we move it, as it crosses the line, we change the signs. And so it's going to make a plus 5. We can't combine the 5 and the 2x together because they don't both have x's, but we can combine the negative 2 and the positive 5 together. So when you combine this together, your final answer is going to be y equals 2x. And then what's the last part going to be? Okay, it's going to be plus 3, because negative 2 plus 5 is positive 3. And so then on Canvas, when you do this problem, you'll find that answer over there. And so here it is right here. So you'll just click on that button that says DE. Now, somewhere on a scrap piece of paper, keep track of what letters you're clicking on each time. So for number 1 on your scrap paper, write down DE. Because when you get to the end, there's a bonus question. And if you've got all these letters right, you'll get that bonus. So, all right, let's go through one more example. Just to kind of remind you and give you a little more practice here before you start doing a few on your own. So here's our next example. We've got the points 0, 1, and 3, negative 8. We want to write the equation again of the line like we just did. So the first thing you're going to do is find the slope. So go ahead and find the slope between those 2 points. Okay, so you should have subtracted the y's to get the rise. And so 1 minus negative 8, and subtracted the x's to get the run. So 0 minus 3. And so when you do 1 minus negative 8, that's positive 9. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. And so when you simplify, you get negative 3 for an answer. Now, if you had done that the other way around, you still would have gotten negative 3 for an answer. All right, now we need to fill in these boxes, these blanks, in point slope form. So go ahead and take this information and fill in point slope form. All right, so if you use the first point, you would put the 0 next to the x and the 1 next to the y. If you use the second point, you would put the 3 next to the x and the -8 next to the y. And so I've written them both down here because you could have done either. Now remember, you write down the opposite sides, so it would be +8 and -3 if you use the second point, and it would be -1 and -0 if you use the first point. But either way, that -3 is what goes in front of the parentheses. Okay, now to get a final answer here, we just want to simplify that. So whichever one you have written down, go ahead and simplify it to get it in slope-intercept form. Okay, so hopefully you find your answer over there. If you didn't, let's just check through it. If we do this one, we take -3 times x and -3 times -3, which is -3x. That's not a very good 3 there. And then +9. So that's what y plus 8 is equal to. So now we want to move this +8 over. And so if we move it over, it's going to become -8. And so our answer is just going to be y is equal to -3x. And then 9 minus 8 is +1. So -3x plus 1. So there it is right there. It's CT. If you had done the other equation, you get the exact same answer. -3 times x is -3x. -3 times 0 is just 0. And so that's what y minus 1 is equal to. And then you add 1, and you end up with y is equal to -3x plus 1. And so either way, you get the same answer no matter which point you choose. And so for number 2, you would write down the letters CT. And so again, you'll use those for the last problem as kind of a bonus question on this. All right, so hopefully that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, you can send me an email and I'll try to get back with you, or you can message me through Canvas Messenger, and same thing, I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. So good luck with what you're working on today, writing these equations with 2 points, and that's all I have for you today. So that's the end of our video.